of Mexico or along the southeasterly coastline.
Another system forms in the tropics.
Put the track on it. This might strengthen a little bit, but likely not go beyond tropical storm status.
La Niña's here.
Well, it's part of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and it features trade winds that blow from east to west across the Pacific Ocean.
Why pumpkin spice season can also be fatigue season.
I believe this is real. It really is seasonal effectiveness disorder.
And can bugs really predict the weather?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. A powerful and dangerous nor'easter slamming Atlantic states today. It's a cyclonic storm with northeast winds that pushed water towards the coast. Now, authorities report numerous water rescues in the Carolinas yesterday. Today, forecasters say the mid-Atlantic and New England coastlines are in danger. The National Weather Service says flooding risks in some areas will remain for days. The system is also bringing powerful winds. We turn to Mike Cerullo in Rhode Island.
Hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
I make sure my phones are charged.
I have a backup generator.
For the first time this season, a nor'easter smacks southern New England. Steady rain and strengthening wind gusts so far haven't scared off everyone from the shoreline in Narragansett.
These are the days I wait for. I knew the waves were going to be big, so I came here.
I'm just trying to take the dog for a quick walk before it gets crazy.
A little scary, but not coming down too hard yet.
But we're just getting started. The potential for flooding, wind damage, and power outages goes up as we head into the evening.
Is Rhode Island Energy prepared for this?
Yes, we are.
Greg Cornett is the utility company's president.
We're in good shape.
He says despite the holiday weekend, they're staffed up and ready to respond to outages statewide, plus a fully staffed call center and IT experts on hand.
Thinking back to July, we had issues with the outage map.
Yes.
What's been done since then to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Yep, so a tremendous amount of work has been done since then. We identified the root cause of that failure on the IT side. We've implemented a fix with the vendor. We've been monitoring it extremely closely throughout, multiple small events since then to ensure that it's working.
In Massachusetts, Eversource is also increasing staffing. Meanwhile, over at Dave's Market in East Greenwich, some shoppers stocked up to ride out the storm.
But that might be the Patriot game, too.
And this was the scene yesterday in New Jersey as that system made its way up the coast. You can see here sidewalks, street signs, fire hydrants, and even light poles were all partially submerged underwater. Strong winds and flooding also hit Delaware. Parts of the state were under voluntary evacuation orders as the nor'easter hit. High tides and surf caused major coastline flooding in the state, and coastal flood warnings are in place until 8 p.m. tonight. And take a look at the scene in Virginia where winds topped 50 miles per hour. You can see roads were completely flooded. Homes and businesses were also flooded, with some saying the water was nearly knee-high. Thankfully, there have been no reports of any major injuries. And our storm chaser, Brett Adair, was out following that nor'easter over the weekend. This is video he captured in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. Several local roads were flooded and cars and trucks were stuck on portions of Highway 12. High winds and heavy rain battered the area, with several homes seeing damage from ocean overwash and also blowing sand. Now in South Carolina, high tide caused multiple days of flooding that took over the streets. Cara Riskus talked to some people who stepped outside and found themselves ankle deep in water.
Workers and residents had their shop vacs and mops out as waves of water flooded their streets. I spoke to one business owner who says he's experienced quite a few floods at this location.
It got right up to the level of the doors right over there, and we had a shop vac and a bunch of towels, and fortunately got to keep it out and get most of it up right away, and didn't cause too many problems.
He also tells me he's getting tired of all the water coming into his business.
We bought a new building, and we're moving up the street. We've been in this location for 55 years. We flooded 5 feet deep in Hurricane Hugo, so this exactly the level of my eyes in Hurricane Hugo in 1989. Did not flood again until Hurricane Matthew in 2016. This was the 8th time we've flooded since Hurricane Matthew.
Nor'easters are most common this time of year, but not all nor'easters are the same. To learn more about them, let's turn to meteorologist Emily Santum.
To begin, a nor'easter is a storm along the east coast of North America, and it's called that due to the northeasterly winds mostly along the coastline. Nor'easters typically happen between September and all the way to April, kind of what we saw last April. And there are two types. We have Miller A and Miller B. So let's first begin with Miller A. It actually depends on where it's located. It typically develops in the Gulf of Mexico or along the southeasterly coastline. It then rapidly intensifies as it moves northeastward, either sometimes northerly, up the coastline. Mid-Atlantic and New England states usually are hit the hardest in a situation like this. Severe weather is also possible in Florida, which is pretty crazy from a nor'easter. An example of this was the superstorm of 1993. The second type is Miller B, and this is typically what we see as our New England nor'easters. A couple of our examples, it actually originates as an area of low pressure over the Midwest, then begins to move eastward. The low begins to weaken as it hits the Appalachian Mountains, and another low actually forms on the east side of the mountain ranges, closer to the coastline. The warmer Gulf Stream water begins to help it intensify as it turns northwards or even easternwards towards New England. And heavy snow is likely for New England and the mid-Atlantic. The example of this was back in February 2010 for the North American blizzard. That brought a lot of snowfall to the mid-Atlantic once again in February 2010.
And we're still in hurricane season. Another system has formed in the Atlantic. Meteorologist Lauren Oleski is tracking the tropics for us this morning.
Tropical storm Lorenzo just developed out in the central Atlantic, all the way out here. No threat to us. This is going to stay out to sea, but there it is. Winds right now at 45 miles per hour. We'll put the track on it. This might strengthen a little bit, but likely not go beyond tropical storm status. It will continue to, like I mentioned, curve out to sea. This will stay well out in the Atlantic. There's the United States all the way over there, so we're in good shape. No other tropical threats to the country or the state right now. Next name on our list, should anything develop, is Melissa and then Nestor. Hurricane season ends in about a month and a half, November 30th.
If you're feeling a little bit sluggish this time of the year, you could have what's commonly referred to as pumpkin spice fatigue. Liz Bonus explains what that means and shares some tips to fix it.
Hey there, everybody. There's nothing better if you are a coffee lover than this time of year when you get served up pumpkin spice. But the seasonal shift that accompanies it, that might not be quite a cup of comfort.
There's no shortage of people looking for that cup of comfort every day here at Kentucky's Roebling Books and Coffee.
We're busy all the time, which is wonderful.
The brew itself has lots of antioxidants, which are powerful disease fighters. But add that pumpkin spice taste and coffee drinkers will tell you,
I've enjoyed coffee since I was 6 years old.
It's the perfect complement to those early mornings as daylight shrinks across the sky. But that shift in season, Beth Gifford, an adjunct business professor at Ohio's Cedarville University, says is the perfect setup for what's commonly referred to now as pumpkin spice lethargy.
I believe this is real. It really is seasonal effectiveness disorder.
Beth says the back-to-work post-summer slump and shorter days leads to more sick calls to work this time of year compared to other seasons.
It is really a combination of multiple things, both truly seasonal and others, more emotional.
As for how to fix it, start, she says, by sitting less and moving more.
Don't sit at your desk all day. Don't sit in front of a computer all day. Set the alarm on your phone to go for a walk, and ideally outside.
If more of your lethargy comes from the emotional side, that feeling that you aren't valued or challenged at work,
you have got to reach out to someone that you trust as a safe place and discuss, how can I feel more valued?
Beth suggests you make that pumpkin spice coffee stop part of a few healthy conversations in your day. It breaks up the monotony and doesn't have to be just a summertime thing.
And for all the latest weather news and video, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. To search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll take a closer look at weather modifications and cloud seeding, and we'll help you better understand La Niña.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast as we head through Sunday night into the day on Monday. We are talking some heavy rain for some parts of southern New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, over towards Rhode Island. In particular, up towards to the north, we are just going to see mainly cloudy skies. That will continue through much of the day on Monday, and then that will transition to some scattered showers as we head through the day on Tuesday, and we are going to see mainly cloudy skies as well. High temperatures for the daytime tomorrow will top out in the 50s for most.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Clouds, wind, and rain will still linger around for your Monday. We'll continue to see scattered showers behind this nor'easter that's continuing to pull up and away along the East Coast. And likely we're just going to see the showers for mostly one more day. Tuesday, clouds will linger, but we'll start to see things improving a little bit. The wind will still be there, but otherwise the rain will be a lot less. Temperatures on the cool side will still get closer to the 60s on Tuesday.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. It looks like we're going to see those temperatures. Nashville, 80 degrees, 84 in Birmingham, looking at a cool 69 degrees in Raleigh. Charleston, 73 degrees. Tampa, 87 and 84 in West Palm. We're looking at a lot of sunshine across the southeast. That coastal storm up in the eastern half of North Carolina will start to pull away. It brings that northeasterly and then northwesterly wind shifting, but we'll get clear skies across the southeast once that moves off to the east.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Fall is really starting to show its true colors. This tranquil scene comes from Rhode Island. New York's Adirondack Mountains are bursting with multiple colors, and in Utah, the bright yellow of aspen trees is visible along several roads. Sunrise was fiery red this morning over a central Alabama lake, while in Rochester, it started off misty before turning into a pretty nice day.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
And last week, NOAA announced the arrival of La Niña. But what exactly is La Niña? Meteorologist John Gum explains.
Well, it's part of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, and it features trade winds that blow from east to west across the Pacific Ocean. Now, typically, those trade winds will blow warmer water toward Asia. That happens in any given year. However, during the La Nina years, those trade winds are especially strong. So not only do we blow that warmer water over toward Asia, we get cooler water upwelling or coming off the bottom of the ocean, rising to the surface of the ocean, taking its place. So you get this cool pool of water that develops over the Pacific. And again, this has happened 3 years in a row now. What that means is that the jet stream configuration across the country is changed quite a bit. So we get that Pacific jet, which brings moisture coming in across the Pacific Northwest and heading over into the Ohio Valley, linking up with the polar jet coming from Canada. The end result is that across portions of the northwestern and northern U.S., we tend to get cooler than normal temperatures during the winter months with La Nina. We also tend to get wetter than normal conditions across the northwestern portion of the United States and in the Ohio Valley. We tend to see precipitation increasing. And coupled with that, across the southern tier states, La Nina winters tend to be drier than normal. And again, there's a better than 90% chance that this is the pattern that sets up as we head through the fall months, and a better than 50-50 chance that this may even continue into the winter months.
And weather manipulation is a tool that is used sometimes to help dry or drought-stricken areas. But lawmakers in Alabama say they may want to ban this practice. Mary Barron has more.
When you disperse chemicals into the atmosphere,
it does affect every one of us, many times in a negative way.
Weather manipulation is the act of altering the weather. One of the most common forms is cloud seeding, which can increase rain and snowfall. Cloud seeding is a technique where substances like silver iodide or salt are dispersed into clouds to encourage precipitation.
The climate change is the solar reflection in order to cool the earth, creating clouds. So it goes far beyond just cloud seeding.
Alabama Representative Mac Butler says the bill mirrors the legislation Florida passed.
It sets up a reporting system, if passed, through ADEM, where if a citizen sees something, you could report it to them.
One being geoengineering. ABC 3340 meteorologist Riley Blackwell tells me the impact of weather manipulation varies.
The expected impact is to increase the local water supply or increase the rainfall for a farm or a drought-stricken area.
But there are more and more there are chemicals being found in the stratosphere that aren't naturally there. They're being found in the soil.
Butler says they are now hoping to bring experts to Montgomery to have serious conversations about the effects of weather manipulation.
The more states that pass this legislation will force the feds to take a look at it. And there is talk. There's legislation being filed right now at the federal level.
When it comes to predicting the weather, many of you turn to the news, radio, internet apps, but some people say a bug can predict how strong winter is going to be. Here's meteorologist Jeff Exline.
It's woolly bear caterpillar season. Some call it the woolly worm, whatever you want to call it. Some people say it can foretell the upcoming winter. Rochelle just chimed in this photo of a woolly bear caterpillar. So how do you read the worm? Well, it has 13 distinct segments. Basically, the more black your woolly worm is, the harsher the upcoming winter. Supposedly, according to weather folklore, if there are more brown segments in your woolly bear caterpillar, you're going to experience a milder winter. Now, if you come across a caterpillar that's all black, don't worry. It's not going to be some kind of severe winter. You're just looking at a different species of a caterpillar, not the woolly worm. All woolly worm caterpillars have segments of brown and black.
And speaking of winter, some areas are seeing morning frost already, but what ingredients are needed for frost to form? Meteorologist Natalie Walters explains.
Well, a few places across the U.S. may experience their first frost of the season. So let's talk about some of the ingredients that are needed for frost to form. So first, as you can see, skies are clear, and clear skies at night do help temperatures fall a little bit more due to a process called radiational cooling. Basically, any heat at the surface then escapes up into space, allowing those temps to fall a little bit more. And you could even see frost advisories issued when the low temp is 36 degrees, and that's because cool air sinks. So even though the air temp, which is read several feet above the ground, it could be 32 at the surface, which could help that frost form as well. You also need calmer winds. This prevents the mixing of that air, helps that frost develop, and also helps those temps cool just a little bit more. So if you are under that frost advisory, make sure you protect your plants.
And October means pumpkins, scary costumes, Halloween candy, and fall foliage. Meteorologist Doug Harlow takes us on another trek across West Virginia in search of the best fall colors in the state.
The Falls of Hill Creek consist of 3 waterfalls, each progressively larger than the next. We're here at the Middle Falls, which is a 45-foot drop. Just below us is the Lower Falls, which is over a 60-foot drop, making it the second highest waterfall in West Virginia. But since we just went down 150 steps, which means we have to go up 150 steps to get back to our car, we're just going to stay at the Middle Falls for now. The trip to the first or Upper Falls is relatively flat and easy. But if you want to see the larger Middle and Lower Falls, you'll have to head down a number of steps, which means you'll eventually have to head back up them too. So keep that in mind. The foliage around the falls is still colorful, although we noticed a number of trees had already shed their leaves, many of which have dropped onto the trail. After a recent rain, those wet leaves are very slippery, so be careful. As we hit the road again and start heading east, we found that the best of fall color appeared to have ended in that area. Any annual leaf-peeping journey has to include the Highland Scenic Highway on its itinerary. But here at the Williams River Valley Scenic Overlook, as you can see, Many of the trees are already past peak and have lost their leaves, and what little color is out there is pretty dull. Now, you will see better colors on the northern end of the Highland Scenic Highway, but in general, it looks like fall foliage has ended in this part of West Virginia.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over Stony Point Orchard in northern Michigan.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmike. We have a few scattered showers across the Midwest today with a cold front. It's a little warmer out ahead of it in the 70s across the Ohio Valley, but 50s and 60s across the northern plains. By the time we roll on into your Tuesday, notice that we're still seeing some of the rain there across the northern plains as that cooler air starts to try to push its way farther south as we head into Wednesday and Thursday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at your forecast across the region on this Columbus Day. Well, we do have a few showers out across West Texas into Oklahoma, where it will be a little bit cooler, 60s and 70s for afternoon highs. Otherwise, more sunshine, 80s to low 90s across the rest of the region. And then as we head into your Tuesday, we'll have mainly sunny conditions with 80s and low 90s. A few showers out across the Texas Panhandle. Have a great Monday.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stella Sun. A fall storm system will push its way down the coast of California, bring rain as well as mountain snow. We're also tracking the remnants of rainstorm Raymond. That's going to continue to bring some heavy pockets of rain, triggering flood warnings for parts of the desert Southwest. Daytime highs only climbing into the low 80s through Las Vegas, and in Phoenix, we're talking 60s through San Francisco and in Portland, and welcoming back the 40-degree temperature range over in Missoula, Montana.
I'm meteorologist Kit Alexander at News 5 WCYB in Bristol, Virginia, and you are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, nature paints the most beautiful images with the right mixture of sun and clouds. Meteorologist Dave Dirks tells us how crepuscular rays form in the sky.
Take a look at this awesome sunrise over Chilhowie, Virginia, known as crepuscular rays, and sometimes called God rays. These are beams of sunlight that stream through the gaps in clouds or behind other objects. They are made visible by the scattering of light off particles in the atmosphere like moisture, smoke, or dust. The dark streams between the beams are the shadows cast by the clouds. The rays appear to fan out, but are really parallel beams of sunlight, similar to how train tracks seem to converge in the distance. They are seen mostly at sunrise or sunset. The low angle of the sun allows its light to travel through more atmosphere, increasing the scattering and making the rays easier to see.
And we'd love to share your content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.